So I'm Robyn. I'm the curriculum manager here at Brooklyn Robot Foundry. My job is basically everything having to do with the robots themselves. Um, I work with Jana, who's the head of production, to help figure out like what kinds of new parts and test new parts. I work with a design team who does partially design work and partially teaching to create new projects. Um, I work with franchise owners, training them, teaching them how to train their teachers, teaching them everything about the curriculum, helping put together new sorts of projects or class structures when new things come up. So everything to do with like the robots themselves and how they get to the kids, get taught to the kids is kind of my domain. So I've been with Robot Foundry for 3 years. I started in the production department, putting together kits, but I have a background in like visual arts and child development. So I kind of do more of like design, curriculum, everything, like I said, everything like that. So just a really brief look at kind of the breadth of the curriculum. We have uh, over 500 robots that are taught within the curriculum right now. We actually have like way over 2,000 that have existed in Robot Foundry's whole history. Not all of those are great projects, so we kind of have all the best ones for you all to run as franchises. Um, so our program starts at age 2 in a program called Mini Makers and goes all the way up through coding, which is middle school aged. So there's actually 9 different years worth of unique curriculum so that a child could start when they're really little and do the Mini Makers program and work their way up, getting a different unique year full of projects for 9 straight years. When I say a year of curriculum, that means there's 40 different weeks worth of projects. So a kid would start basically in September or whenever your school year starts, and they could come once a week for after school or for an in-school enrichment program or something like that and do a different project for 9 straight years. Um, so the bulk of our curriculum is these sort of like after school classes. It starts at Mini Makers, which is like 2, 3, 4 years old with a caretaker. So that's like a parent and me class at a YMCA or library or something like that. The next level up is Robot Rookies, which is pre-K and kindergarten. These are projects that the kids can do pretty much independently with only a little bit of help from a teacher. Builders is like first and second grade. Inventors is third, fourth, fifth, so they get a little more complex as they go up. And then coding uses another tool called a Hummingbird kit, which is like a plug-in block coding. It's like a physical kit where they can plug in coding components, and then they do a block coding program that goes with it. Um, so that's all of the school year. In addition to the school year robots, we have 40 projects every summer that kind of fit into more like a full day format. So the kids come in the morning, they do a robot project, they play, they eat lunch, they go outside, and then they do another sort of non-robotic build that still is using a lot of our same parts, screws and wood and things like that, to go alongside the robot. So it's like a full day of building and playing. We have robots that are specific for field trips, for going into schools, for just like a one-off event or birthday parties, that are kind of great for kids who have maybe never done it before, or first timers. So all of that to say, we have a ton of different projects. We have a ton of projects that fit all sorts of different age groups, different kinds of contexts, different kinds of classes, things like that. So working on the design team, when we're coming up with robot projects, there's a lot of different things that we're considering to get to those 500 robots that we really love and love teaching. Um, all of our designers do design work, and then they also teach classes on the side, teach our robot classes. So they're coming up with projects and they're really getting to see firsthand what the kids like, what's, that good balance of something that's like challenging, where the kids are really growing their skills, but not too hard, where it gets too frustrating. They have a really good sense of what the kids really enjoy playing with, you know, what kinds of like things kids are into these days. Like we just made a robot that's like a display, like a lit up display for a Pokemon card, maybe, or other sorts of playing cards, because every kid in all of our classes are like obsessed with Pokemon right now, you know, or things like that. So we're designing kind of based on like what we're seeing from kids, what they like, what they're interested in, what kinds of projects they like really enjoy doing and find challenging. I also work really closely with the production department to make sure that our designs are packable, that they can move in a kit from our production warehouse here in Brooklyn to wherever you are without breaking or getting damaged, that they're within a budget so that, you know, you can sell them without you breaking the bank or the schools breaking their banks. We always say if we make a robot and it makes us laugh and we feel excited, those are usually the ones that work the best. So all of the robots that we make here in Brooklyn, we test them with kids here and see if the kids like them. If they do and everything's working well, that'll go into the franchise curriculum and the franchisees can run it. If the kids don't quite like it or something doesn't quite work that well, it'll come back to our design team and we'll change it or make some adjustments. Sometimes we just scrap it all together and we retest until it's good. And that's how we decide kind of what goes out to the franchisees. So in addition to robots, we have lots of other kind of resources and fun things. We have modules, which are like built craft projects that the kids can do. We have a book full of stories about a child and their robot friend that go along with some of our projects. We have tons of like robot themed mazes, connect the dots, find the difference between these two pictures, you know, all of that sort of like fun, like paper workshop kinds of things. So we have like a ton of stuff that our franchisees have access to run, not just robot build classes, but like everything else that comes with running curriculums for kids. And then just to finish off before we go into question and answer, I brought a couple robots to show you. I just grabbed three off my desk, so it's a little bit of a random assortment. This is a teeny tiny robot. I'm going to stop sharing my screen so you can just see this guy big. This is a robot called a Glowbot, and it's used for marketing. So it's really tiny. It's really easy. It can be put together a ton of different ways. It lights up. This is a robot that you would use if you were doing like a fair or a trial class or something where you're just kind of trying to help as many kids build as many projects as they can, as quickly as they can to market your business. So we have a couple of like little tiny projects like this that you could do at say like a fair at a booth where you're just kind of like building quickly with kids, getting as many kids as you can to get excited about it. This is more like what a finished robot project looks like. This one is called Proppy Jalopy, and it's a car that moves with a motor and propeller. So when you turn it on, this propeller goes. Let me see if I can show on this desk it moving around. There it goes. So this is like a wind-powered car robot. And then the other one I grabbed is this like ball and cup game. This uses this kind of interesting circuit with exposed metal pieces. So it's going to be a real test of skill. You throw it up and land it in the cup, it turns on this light. So this is kind of like a ball and cup game. So that's just a couple examples. Like I said, we have hundreds and hundreds of robots that vary greatly in terms of like complex builds, kind of potential for complex decorations, complex circuits. There's like a really wide breadth of what the robots look like. But those are just a couple, the examples that were the closest to me before I came out onto this call. So yeah, that's the big overview, but I think Brittany said we're going to move on to some questions.
So, Lincoln, I'm going to have you go first and ask your first question.
Yeah, thanks, Robin. I have several, but I'll start with the kits that you've showed us. Is it the same kit that all ages use, but they do different things with the kit? Or is there like the 2-year-old kit, the 5-year-old kit, 7-year-old kit, and the 12-year-old robot?
Yeah, that's a great question. So the way the curriculum is laid out, I was showing you that slide that's like there's 40 projects for each age group. So on any given week, each age group has a totally different project. So there's the Rookies project, which is the kindergarten one. There's the Builders project, which is kind of younger or elementary, and Inventors project. So, and all the franchisees are on the same schedule. So say like this week in production, they're making probably for the most part 4 different kits, one for each of those age groups. And then in 2 weeks, once these kits that are being made go out to franchisees, everybody will be running the same builders project, which is different than the same inventors project. So they are different for each age group. And sometimes if we have designs that kind of go well together, maybe the younger kids will be doing kind of a simpler version of the more advanced project that the older kids are doing. But for the most part, each age group is doing something totally different from each other in a given week.
Great. Thank you, Lincoln. Anish, you're next.
So I really only had just one main question. Do the kits are the kits all around the same amount of material costs? So I know you mentioned, Robin, that like when you get into the more advanced grades and stuff like that, they have more coding projects and all that kind of stuff. But d does the material cost stay the same?
The Yes, it does. So the amount that we sell each robot kit for is the same. The cost varies kind of slightly robot to robot. Part of what we're doing on the design team is, uh, figuring out how to put together a set of materials that fits within the budget. So, if if you're running a class that's 10 weeks long, you'll notice like some of the kits will be a little more like packed with stuff, and some of the kits, maybe the build is a little simpler. But they all kind of balance out to be on average around the same cost.
Okay.
So the robot kits cost the same amount. Um, and then with you mentioned coding, the coding kits, they use this kit called a Hummingbird. Hummingbird is its own company that we work with. So the Hummingbird kits have kind of more advanced electronic components in them, and they're more expensive. But the kids reuse and take apart those projects every week. So even though the kits are more expensive, or the Hummingbird, the coding kits are expensive, they get reused. So it's the kind of cost per kid per class ends up being the same.
Okay. Thank you.
Lincoln, do you have another question for Robin?
I do, thanks. Tell me about I see these kits and um, tell me the difference from a teacher's standpoint in doing this robot versus like doing a crafting kit, where you might put together a popsicle stick log cabin or something like that. If you would, from a teacher's standpoint, how is the teacher interacting with students in building that robot?
So when a teacher figures out what kit, they come into the office, they see what kit they're building that week, they build it. One of the big things they're looking at is the circuit, because that's the main thing we're trying to teach is kind of this like basic understanding of electronics. So they will decide kind of based on what the project is, what they want to focus their lesson on. So maybe the kit this week has like a motor and a switch, but the kit last week had the same kind of switch. So this week we're going to really kind of go in depth talking about motors. So the teacher will kind of decide what they want the lesson to be about. And then in terms of building it, we really want to encourage kids to feel like they can have ideas and like build what they want and try things, and maybe they fail and they try again. So, the projects for that reason, they use a lot of the same parts. So the teacher will kind of build it as it's shown, and then if the kid wants to build something slightly different, maybe they'll take these wheels and put there somewhere else, or they'll say, I don't want to use this motor, I'm going to try to make the wheel do something different. So the teachers are kind of working with the kits and with the parts that are allotted for that week, to help the kids either build step by step the project that's given, or if the kids want to do something a little bit different, the teachers are trained to really know how all the parts work and kind of be able to interact with them so they can help the kids build something a little different.
So there's both a
That answers your
lesson,
question.
there's a lesson and a kit, right? And
Yeah.
so when we buy the kit, does it also come with like a lesson plan for the teacher?
Yeah. So each robot has a slide deck that's for the teachers. That's a step-by-step instructions of how to build the robot, which includes the circuit, how all the electronic components work. We have some kind of like info slides that show like this is what a motor looks like when it's broken apart, and here's what's inside a motor and how it works. So every day when a teacher comes and they look at the slide deck for the robot that they're building, they get all of that information. And then in the class, what they do is they introduce the robot. They say, this robot's called Proppy Jalopy. What does anybody notice about it? The kids will say, that's a motor. This is a battery pack, whatever else they see. And then the teacher can kind of choose through what they want to talk about. So if I was looking at this, I would probably talk a little bit about like wind power and how motors work. Might talk about just generally how the circuit works. It's a little bit up to the teachers, but they do have kind of all the information in any class, of like what some of the options are or what we would recommend. And then they walk the kids step by step through the build as the kids build it, and then they all decorate. So it's kind of like what the hour-long class looks like. And that's true for all of those 500 robots. Each one has a set of slides that has the step-by-step instructions and all of that information, depending on what the parts are in the robot.
Lincoln, that means it's back to you, buddy.
Yeah, tell me a little bit about the teacher training process. And by that, I'll say that I hear you who have experience as a teacher, and you can look at a kit and say, oh, here's what I would teach about this. But I think the people we're teaching probably don't have that basis of knowledge and experience. So you're going through training now. Tell me what that training is like for me as an owner in training, these, we call them teachers, but these college students that are trying to earn a little bit of extra money on the side.
Totally. Well, I'll start off by saying when you're looking for teachers, you're basically looking for people that have any childcare experience and like working with kids. Everything else they can learn. So like I feel like the people that we hire that kind of make the best teachers for our program are like camp counselors. We have a lot of like artists and actors who have done like improv games with kids and stuff like that. So you're finding people that the thing they already have coming into the job is that they like working with kids and they like being in front of kids and talking to them. The training includes, they do a session called Robots 101 that goes through how the circuits work, how all of the electronic components work, how all of the hardware works, the specific we have like little catchphrases or like ways of teaching this thing to a kid that can help them remember it. So we go through all of that. They do shadowing. So they watch first you as the franchise owner would get trained by me and how to do this. That's what I'm doing this week. And then you go off and before, when you're just running a couple of classes, you're going to be the one teaching them. And then once you have teachers, they'll watch you. And then when you have more teachers, they'll watch your other teachers. So you do shadowing. We have, I think, like 4 hours of video training about classroom management, working with neurodivergent kids, figuring out like how, kind of step by step how to set up your classroom, what supplies you need, the process of like what a full day looks like, tricks about how to use your voice to command a classroom, things like that. So that's kind of all included in the training. And then later on in the training, they also do a session that's on how to like troubleshoot robots. So when things break or things come up that are unexpected, what to do in that. So it's a pretty extensive teacher training, but it kind of covers like everything about how the projects work, shadowing people who have been doing it so they can see some different teaching styles, and then, information about how to manage a classroom. That's all kind of included in the teacher training.
Okay. Lincoln, back to you.
Some curiosity questions. Do you find that after kids build these robots, that they take them home and continue playing with them and show them with their friends? And is that good word of mouth advertising?
Yeah, yes and yes. Kids definitely take them home. I think, if a kid is coming for a whole school year, they're doing 40 robots. Some of them they're gonna, like and want to play with more than others. I've definitely had kids who midway through the year bring in the first project to the class and say, my LED broke. And I'm like, oh, you still have this and are playing with it and using it. We also get kids who are really into the program. They bring home these projects, they take them home, take them apart, and start kind of building up their own new projects out of them. It's because, all the parts are the parts you see over and over again, the circuit parts, they will like learn how to use, and they'll kind of gain the knowledge where they can take them apart and build their own new things out of them. But yeah, I think having the projects and how fun they are and how much they like playing with them is kind of great marketing. The time I see it probably the most is like, if all the kids go into their own after school programs, and then at a lot of schools, then they kind of gather back up for pickup time. And, I've seen kids where the kids are coming out of a robot foundry class and they're holding and playing with their project and it's so fun. And then the kid who just came out of, I don't know, music class or whatever their after school is looking and saying, oh, that looks so awesome. So, just them being around in the schools and around kids, other kids definitely pick up on how cool it looks. And, they're really unique looking. And especially when the kids make them, they have so much personality. And the kids, because they decorated them and they built every part of it themselves, they feel so much ownership over them. So I think that rubs off on other kids who see them too.
That's great.
Thanks. Appreciate that.
Since it's just Jose and Lincoln now, I'm just gonna open it up for questions. So if you guys have questions, feel free to shout it out.
Yeah, I'm still good. Thanks, Robin. That's really cool. I like the look of the robots. Tell me a little bit about coding that you mentioned that they do at the older age. Does that mean that they have like a computer or a tablet, or how does that work?
Yeah. So the coding program is for like middle school or fifth grade and up. And the they use this kit that's called a hummingbird kit. You can look up, if you look up like hummingbird robotics, can kind of see what it looks like. So it's a kit that has a controller, a Bluetooth connection, battery pack, and then like LEDs, sensors, motors, things like that you plug into it. Those all get reused over and over again, and those will connect to, we use just kind of like any Bluetooth enabled tablet. And there's a app that goes alongside the kit that's a block coding app. So it's really similar to like Scratch or Make Code or something like that, if you're familiar with those. So the kids will like literally kind of drag and drop, say like, if I notice something close to me, then I will make my wheels go this direction. If I hear a loud sound, then I will shine bright red LED or whatever. That would be a weird robot. So the kids will plug in all of the electronic parts, connect it to the tablet, and then they drag and drop the block to make a block code program.
And the cost for that is the same as the other kits?
Yeah, so they get it works a little bit differently. So with each project that we've made for coding, it uses the Hummingbird kit as kind of the electronic part, but then there is usually like with like any of our projects, a structure made of like wood and popsicle sticks and screws or whatever else that gets integrated with it. So the kids will still build the wood, mechanical, wooden, whatever part of the project. It'll be built with the electronic components, and then the whole thing will get controlled through the tablet.
They all
Um,
come with batteries, I guess, right?
yeah, they have like batteries or recharge I forget what it's called, like a rechargeable battery pack that you
Okay.
plug into it.
Okay.
So the kids work in pairs. So it works a little bit differently, and like the cost structure of it is a little different. Because you buy these hummingbird kits and they're more expensive, but they can be reused
Sure.
basically endlessly. The parts don't really tend to break, or you can replace if like one little part does break. Um, but you still buy from Robot Foundry the rest of the kit, which will have the wood, the screws, any like brackets or other sorts of hardware that go with it. Um, so they build it all together into a project, and then at the end of the day, they take it apart and put all the hummingbird kit parts back together. Um, yeah,
Okay,
I
that sounds really cool.
it's really cool. The coding is really fun. It kind of feels similar to our projects in some ways. We chose the hummingbird kit in particular as opposed to like Lego coding or something like that because
Mhm.
um, it's similarly like very tactile. You plug in all of the parts, you can see all the wire connections, you can track where the circuit goes. Um, so it's got that same kind of like uh, you know, there's nothing that's like hidden away. Like you can really see how all of it works, which is our goal for teaching kids about how it goes. And same with the block coding, you're really seeing spaced out like all the different sections of the code and putting them together.
Very nice.
Mhm.
Okay, well, thanks. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Do you have any other questions, Lincoln?
Well, I don't think about curriculum.
Okay. Um, all right. Well, Robyn. Well, first off, Jose, I just want to double check. Any questions from you?
No, for me, no, thank you.
Okay, perfect. Well, Robyn, is there anything else that you wanted to say to us then to close it out?
I just really appreciate both of you, and your questions have been really great. If either of you get to the point where you come for a discovery day, I'll give you like a pretty full show of the curriculum. You'll get to look at and play with a lot of the robots and see how they work. But I love answering questions about the robots, and I know Jenny does too. So definitely reach out if you have any more.
Okay, thank you.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much. Yeah, and I let Jenny know already that you guys were on the call, so she'll follow up with you on that. But thank you guys so much. Thank you, Robyn, and we'll talk to you guys later. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks.
Thank you so much. Have a
Bye-bye.
good night.